Albany head coach Will Brown in studio with us this morning on this Monday, President's Day. Good morning, Coach.
Good morning, guys.
Tough loss on the road yesterday, and looked like I was watching on ESPN3. Great first half, and then what happened in the second half? Did you run out of gas?
Yeah, I thought the last 10 minutes of the game we were exhausted. I mean, we're only playing 7 guys, but it was the third game in a row on the road. I thought the first half we played with great energy. We played well. Second half, our shots were we got a lot of wide open shots that we just didn't knock down. Some careless turnovers, and then UMBC has the most dynamic guard in our league in Jairus Lyles, and he was a handful in the second half for us. But we had plenty of opportunities. I just thought that fatigue really set in, especially the last 8 to 10 minutes. We made some lazy plays, but we also were short on a lot of open looks.
You got 2 games to go, both at home. Obviously, both very winnable games against Binghamton and Maine. It looks right now you're kind of locked into the 4th spot, right? You get at least a 4 with still a chance to get to a 3. Is that how you look at it?
There's still a chance to get to the 3, but got to control what we can control. I think the big thing is to really compete these last 2 games and feel good about ourselves heading into the conference tournament. This time of year, once you get to a conference tournament scenario, anything can happen. This has been a challenging year for a variety of reasons, but, I think if we can finish strong down the stretch here, everybody's got an opportunity, in the postseason. We just don't have a lot of room for error right now.
You guys have won the conference tournament before as the 4 seed, and a loss yesterday at UMBC, who was 9-3 going into that one, is no surprise. Like, it's not like, oh my God, I can't believe UAlbany lost that game. When you get back with the guys on Wednesday, right, for practice, what would you expect the mood to be?
Well, we're off today and tomorrow, so I would expect there to be great energy. We have a chance to play at home to finish the regular season, play in front of our fans, and it's all about momentum. You want to have some momentum heading into the conference tournament. We take care of business. We'll get a 3rd game in a row at home in the conference tournament, and then you just go from there. So, I think you mentioned UMBC. There's only 2 teams in the league that have beaten them, Vermont and Albany.
Right.
I just think, you look at what happened the first time we played them at home, and all of a sudden you hear people saying, oh, it should be an easy win. They're really talented, and what a facility they have down there. Talk about a commitment. I mean, $85 million building, unbelievable arena.
It looked great on it. I mean, I hadn't been there because I've been prior to all the games, the older facility, right. Yeah. But this place looked awesome.
Yeah, we practiced there on Saturday, so we had a chance to walk through the facility. Everything's in there, the coaches' offices, the weight room, the academic support. That's going to be a huge advantage for them, moving forward. I think they're fully committed, and, they're playing well right now. So, with that being said, even though we were fatigued and tired, I thought, down the stretch, we still had plenty of opportunities in the last 2 minutes to win the game. Clean looks again. We just couldn't knock down a shot when it mattered most. Our defense, for the most part, was solid, not spectacular, not bad. We gave up 68 points, and the last 4 free throws it was on fouls. So if you would have told me that we were going to give up 60-something points in regulation before we played the game, I would have thought we'd come out with a win for sure.
And KJ Mora's 3 from way out there came with like 6+ to go, Will. And I think you may have only given up 8 more points after that.
Yeah, he hit that one from the parking lot, and he played well yesterday too. He's the smallest guy in our league, the quickest guy in the league, puts a lot of pressure on the ball defensively. Basketball's a game of runs. It's about momentum. They had it's crazy, the second time we've played them where they've had a week to prepare for us. And the only thing they really did different this time is they doubled Travis in the post. And on most nights, Travis would have walked out of there with a half dozen assists. I mean, he made some great passes, diagonal skips opposite where we were able to 1-2 in rhythm, and we just didn't knock them down. Joe shot the ball really well in the first half from the perimeter. The second half, we had some other guys get some clean, wide open looks. So if there's anything that I'm disappointed in, after watching, really, is just some of the careless turnovers, and we allowed them to really crawl into us to start the second half, and we allowed it to bother us. So some of those turnovers were just flat out careless, lazy turnovers. And then let's face it, down the stretch, good players do what good players do. Their two best players took over the game and made plays, and that's what you want your best players to do in crunch time. So hats off to Lyles and Mora, and now we got to get ready to play on Saturday.
And that'll be is Binghamton first or Maine first? Maine, and then Binghamton on Tuesday the following week, the 27th, and then that will be the end of the regular season. The home game in the quarterfinals, assuming everything works out according to plan, will be on the 3rd of March, and then looks like a road trip on the 6th.
We don't have to worry about you missing any flights in the next week or so.
And you know what? For all that
story's pretty good, isn't it?
Unbelievable.
Have you ever?
The check is better than the story.
But then when you hear about the baseball lesson he was at,
right.
the Sakati Center that he was at,
like
he says he was there at 5 a.m. Dave Vatch says he never saw him.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable.
Yeah.
You would have thought we were going to Maine. I mean, it's
saw
unbelievable.
Matt's, and he had C45 on his hand, which was the Southwest C45.
Weiland's the only guy that doesn't check in ahead of time for a Southwest flight.
Who checks in?
He probably now he's going to tell you
on the app.
Now he's going to tell you he doesn't know that bags are free on Southwest.
I can tell you I've never checked in on an app at any flight, anytime, anywhere. So it must be you guys checking me in the day before when I'm flying with you, or it must be my wife checking us in as a family when we are going on. I've never checked in.
He's throwing my ops guy under the bus. Right. How about that?
No, he's going to get a refund on the flight.
Yeah.
Though.
Oh, he better. Otherwise, our business office will be all over us.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
I've got a receipt too.
Didn't have to pay Rodger for the game and got our money back for the flight.
So does Mariano get paid double?
I have no idea. Ask Charlie Volker. I just know one thing. When I got the check, I went, all right, well, I'm going to miss a lot today, but now all of a sudden I'm going to be able to do all these family things, and it worked out. I did carve out, though, a good 2 hours to watch on ESPN3, and I was impressed with the first half, and then it is what it is in the second half. Then you get on the bus, and you see, how about Hartford going to Vermont and winning? Did that shock you?
Shock's a good word.
Yeah.
Just because Vermont doesn't lose at home. Now, Ernie Duncan, I guess, had just gotten cleared from the concussion protocol, and they didn't start him, and he only played 20 minutes. And, he's kind of their clutch guy. And Hartford, sat in that zone, that flat, distorted 1-3-1 zone for most of the game. And, really bothered Vermont. But I am surprised because I just thought that... they had it rolling. They're playing well, and they beat Hartford, I guess, by 25 at Hartford. But
so that's either good for if you're Vermont, you go, you know what, we it's okay. We needed a loss before, or you go, you know what, for the other teams and maybe yourself too. You go, all right, look, Hartford went there and won the game. We get another crack. We can go there and do the same thing.
Yeah. The difference is up at Vermont, regardless of who they're playing. There's no better fans in the league than up at Vermont as far as consistency packing Patrick Gymnasium. A lot of that has to do with the success they're having, I'm sure. But even when they weren't having this great success, I mean, I've been in the league a long time now. They've always had a great fan base. And so you think how well they're playing at home, great fan base, but you have to give Hartford credit. I don't think anybody scored in the last 2 minutes of that game. And you got to look at it this way: is that good for Vermont before the conference tournament starts, or are they scratching their head a little bit, thinking, well, we can be beat? I'm probably looking at it as, all right, we got beat, but we got Anthony Lamb coming back in another week, so what are you going to do about that rest of the league?
And is Lamb coming back? One of their top players has been injured, been out most of the season.
Yeah, I think I saw something where he's expected back in within 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Which obviously bodes well for Vermont and not so well for the rest of the league. But I'll tell you what, as good as he is, those front court guys that have been playing this whole conference season are playing at a high level right now. But, it's nice to add arguably the best player in the league as you're getting ready to enter the conference tournament. I'm sure they can find a few minutes for him in the rotation.
I don't want to hijack the show, Raj, but can you hang? Do you want to do some NBA All-Star games?
Yeah. I watched the end of the NBA All-Star game last night.
It was actually good.
It was actually good.
Yeah.
Was the game better than Kevin Hart's intros, though?
I'll tell you what, all the pregame, including the national anthem, absolutely brutal.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I actually had
brutal.
to turn on the Olympic Games.
What was the over/under in Vegas on the length of the anthem?
I don't know, but Fergie went over.
Did they even have? I'm sure they have lines and stuff like that for the All-Star game, right?
It's always 2 minutes for the Super Bowl. Fergie blew that thing out of the water.
And she's a singer.
Nah, I don't know.
On paper.
Right, yeah.
On paper. I'm sorry.
Well, I'll tell you what. This game was a lot more competitive, certainly in the second half, and we actually had some defense that won the game at the end. That's next on Big Board Sports 104.5 at Team ESPN Radio.